Chris in Phoenix, Arizona. Hey, Chris, thanks for calling. What's on your mind?
Hey, Tom. Thank you so much for taking the call. I just wanted to call and let the listeners in Arizona know why I'm voting no on Prop 205, which is the bill, the initiative to legalize marijuana in our state as a recreation. First of all, it does not decriminalize marijuana, and there's still felony possession. But really what it does is it monopolizes the marijuana industry in our state, and it gives full regulation to basically the current and future dispensary owners, which there will only be a handful of. And these people have major corporate interests and major money behind them to get to where they are. They've hoodwinked and hijacked Prop 205, which could have been a good thing. They stand to put businesses like mine, who've been in business for 40 years, serving Arizona with the greatest head shop in Arizona, and they stand to put businesses like mine and other smoke shops and head shops all over the state out of business because they get the right to regulate the entire industry down to the accessories.
Really?
And, yes, they hoodwinked the whole Prop 205. I mean, we had people signing ballots in my shop, or signing up to get this thing going, and then they got their lobbyists and their interests involved. And honestly, I would love if you just took a look at some point, maybe just if anybody else wants to call in and talk about it. It's a really great thing. I'm totally for legal marijuana, but this is
how do they legalize recreational marijuana and yet leave possession a crime? I don't understand how that works.
So basically, they make it so it's like up to 1 ounce, and then after that, it becomes a felony. And you also have to only purchase said marijuana at the 142 legal dispensaries. At this point, there's 99. There'll ultimately be 142, right. And there can only be maybe 60, owners altogether, and they're going to control the entire thing.
So they're basically doing what the alcohol industry did in the 30s and 40s. They consolidated basically the entire alcohol market in the hands of
right.
I mean, back then it was a few thousand companies. Now it's a few dozen. In fact, 70% of the beer manufactured and sold 70% of the beer sold in the United States is coming from one corporation.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's just amazing. So it shouldn't surprise us that legal pot is going to go the way of legal alcohol and legal tobacco as well. But it also, I get what you're saying, Chris, and I hope you guys can, in Arizona, can figure out a way to reboot that or get it out differently, or if it passes, amend it or change it. Is it a proposed law, or is it a proposed constitutional amendment?
I don't know the answer to that, Tom.
Yeah, okay. Because if it's in the Constitution, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder to change than if it's just a law. If it's just a law, then it can be modified, presumably. I'm not familiar with the Arizona Constitution and its statement on citizen ballot initiatives, but and this is one of the problems with ballot initiatives. Everybody thinks ballot initiatives are pure democracy, and isn't it wonderful? There's a reason why the founders didn't put ballot initiatives into the Constitution, and it's because wealthy interests can hijack them. And the average person doesn't have the ability to read a 100-page piece of legislation, understand the nuance of it, understand the subtle meaning of, oh, there's an or instead of an and on line 5, paragraph 3, sentence 2. We don't have time. I mean, we're making a living, we're raising families, we're doing whatever we're doing. And I'm increasingly concerned about ballot measures all across the United States. It was a good pushback in the late 1900s against the Gilded Age, against the robber barons who owned the legislatures of pretty much every state in the Union, as well as the federal government. But that got blown up with Teddy Roosevelt and this explosion of ballot initiatives between basically 1890 and 1915. And okay, thank you. Shano just fact-checked this while we were talking, and he said it simply creates a statute. It doesn't change the Constitution. So that's a little bit of good news, but in that it'll be easier for the legislature to change. But that just means, Chris, your whole fight is going to have to shift to the legislature or get another ballot initiative to amend 205 if it passes. But I understand what you're saying, and thanks for calling and sharing your story with us. It's fascinating.
Thank you so much, Tom.
You're welcome. Thanks, Chris.